The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
I say it's time we focus on what really matters. The games. Who's with me?
Hello and welcome to episode 43 of the PlayStation Experience podcast, the Green Ranger to PSVG Prime's Megazord, and PSVG's premier PlayStation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Seth, and I am joined, as always, by Justin. How are you on your Power Ranger references?
That one I get. That one's pretty... I mean, that's not really a deep cut or anything. If you were to say... Well, see, now I can't even think of their names right now. Zordon?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I was trying to think if
he was a guy.
Villains were. Or no, Zordon is the, like, the head.
He's like the nice guy, the good guy.
Yeah.
Well, who's the guy with the Z on his head?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's been a long time.
And there's the guy with the wings and all that.
This really is a dig at all of the other branded PSVG podcasts outside of Prime, because the Green Ranger is the cool Ranger. At least I always thought so. So
until he turns into the White Ranger, which is the coolest Ranger.
Yeah. So what we're saying is we have a transformation coming, a metamorphosis.
Very true.
Okay. Cool. Before we go too far down that rabbit hole, did want to take some time out to thank our Patreon producers. Thank you to Coach Hulk, Edwin Callow, Devin Tyus, Kevin Austin, Chris M., Kyle Hyman, Bonesaw, Josh Borboni, Barry Cathcart, and Paul Calicote. You can find out more at psvg.blog. You can visit our Patreon at patreon.com/psvg. And if you sign up in our patron, however you say that, by the end of this month, I know today, as you're hearing this, is Wednesday, it's May 29th. If you're hearing this right now, go sign on to be a patron, and then you'll be entered in a drawing to win some prizes, including the prize that we submitted for this month, a $20 Apex Legends currency pack. So with Season 2 right around the corner and a new hero right around the corner, that would be enough to buy both Season 2 and the new hero if you happen to win the drawing this month. So, check that out. On to what we've been playing. What have you been playing, Justin, on your PlayStation?
Yeah, still working through Assassin's Creed a little bit. Slowed down on that a little bit, but went through a few major story beats and still enjoying it quite a bit. And then just more Apex. So I did take a break for a little bit, but in the last week I've played quite a bit more again, kind of just getting back into the groove of things. And I was kind of surprised because I took a couple weeks off. I was expecting to just be really bad, but it went pretty good actually.
Yeah, the guy, Mark, the guy I play with, has been, when we played last week, kind of talked about that same thing where it almost seems like the level of play has dropped.
Yes.
Of course, we talked about that, and then we proceeded to play like 5 matches in a row and not get any better than the top 5. But in general, it seems like we're doing better. And it's not even just about lasting longer, but doing better in firefights. So, we still might, die outside the top 10 or whatever, but we're in some more firefights and we're doing better than we were before. I don't know that it's because we're better as much as maybe the top level players have taken a break waiting for Season 2.
Yeah. Could be. I mean, also you've at this point put a lot of time into this game, so.
Well, I'm not that confident in my abilities.
Yeah.
We did. I'm playing basically once a week at this point. I did win another match, so it kind of in about every play session or two, I end up winning a match, which is a lot better than it was during the first month or so. So that's kind of fun to be.
Well, yeah.
Whether it's because I'm getting better or what, but
Yep. Maybe you're getting matched with better people at this point, more experience. I don't know.
yeah. Still generally doing Octane, although now I've won a couple matches finally with Lifeline. For a long time, Lifeline was my most played character, but I'd never won a match with her. So that's cool.
Good.
Still playing MLB The Show with the Indians. I am in the playoffs now. We set a Major League Baseball record of 122 wins in the regular season. Which again, this is that March to October mode where you win a game and then it gives you momentum, and then you win. It sims through a number of games and so forth. So, having a lot of fun with that. It's just, it's a good way to get into the baseball season and doing much better than the real life Cleveland Indians. And then Sekiro. So, Sekiro is a great game. Combat is awesome. Looks really good. Story's interesting. It's a From Software game, and it's tough as nails. I knew that going in. I've hit that point where there's this one boss. It's early in the game. It's actually the same one I've talked about for the past couple of weeks now. I've gone around and done side stuff to try and build my character up a little bit, but the same boss I fought like 15 times. And it's the kind of fight where you have to sneak around and take out like 8 people on the periphery and then fight the boss. And I've gotten to where I can almost take those 8 people out. Maybe not blindfolded, but I can take them out pretty easily. But it still takes, to take them out without getting seen is a good 10 minutes, and then I fight the boss, and then I die. So I hate that I'm giving up on it, but I'm done. Sekiro has beaten me. That's okay. So I'm selling off Sekiro, and
you don't think is that usually how this goes? Once you've decided to quit, you don't think you'll ever want to go back?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I was gonna ask you how you could do that. How you could go through. I mean, you say maybe that's around 15 times 10 minutes. I mean, you spent several hours at this point on this one section, which just doesn't.
It'd be one thing if I were sitting down and playing the game for 3 hours at a time, but I'm playing it for 45 minutes at a time. Yeah. So, I mean, that's essentially a whole week's worth of me playing it. I've been trying to get past this one boss, and which is fine. That doesn't objectively. I've played 4 games this year: Anthem, Apex Legends, MLB The Show, and Sekiro. And Sekiro might objectively be the best game out of any of those. I mean, but it just, I just, at some point I need to just move on and have a little more. Yeah, I was having fun with Sekiro, but losing to the same guy over and over, it's just like, I'd rather do something different. So instead, I've been focusing on MLB The Show and going to win a World Series as the Indians in that and be satisfied. And then I don't know what I'm going to do next. I might. I've been thinking about jumping back into Uncharted 4 for a long time. Yeah. So I might do that and just kind of bank my Sekiro money until after E3 and see what comes out of E3, or maybe put that toward EA Access or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, moving on from Sekiro to this week's new PlayStation games. There's actually a lot of PSVR stuff.
Yeah, there is. So with a huge release too.
Yeah. Well, couple big releases. Blood and Truth is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. which
Yeah,
I think
it's-
looks, and I think there's been some previews or something out calling this game something, very good, like one of the best
Yeah.
PSVR experiences. And then there is a story just recently that it actually started out as a getaway game. Which
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I played Getaway. I thought it was pretty cool. But either way, I know it also kind of started out as that London, like
It's like London Heist.
yeah,
Or
something like that. It was like one of the first
Yeah.
PSVR like experiences that
demo-
people got to check
demo
out.
disc or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
So I think it's I imagine that Kyle will be getting that and have some thoughts, and
Yep.
maybe even Donnie. So it's one of the biggest PSVR releases. So
yeah, it looks, and everyone who talks about it it's like you're starring in your own action movie. Even more so, I think because it's VR, more so than like an Uncharted or whatever. You're actually in it.
yeah,
Cricket 19. All right.
yes.
DayZ is coming out.
Daisy
Isn't that
is
already out?
It's I don't think it's out. It's not out on PS4.
Okay.
Or hasn't
I
been. So
I get all those mixed up.
yeah, it's a
Um,
little bit confusing.
Oh yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's VR. Help wanted. So it's a Five Nights at Freddy's VR experience. Which
Have you ever
would
played
not,
Five Nights at Freddy's game?
no.
I tried one once, and I didn't get it.
Okay.
It was. I mean, so little of a game. Like I just didn't understand why it was even a game.
Okay.
I thought it was I thought it was extremely dumb. I'll just say
I know
that.
nothing about it, except there's that bear.
Yeah.
Does it take place like in a toy store or something?
It's like a museum
Hmm.
or attraction, maybe. I don't know. Where like the bear and other characters are the attractions, but they come to life at night, and you have to like protect. They're gonna murder you though.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I played like the original or something like that, and it looked really bad. There was no real gameplay except for like literally looking from one direction to the other. Very bad. I don't understand why people like it so much.
I know kids like it a lot for some reason. And this always, as somebody who works in a school district, walking into an elementary school and seeing a kindergartner with a Five Nights at Freddy's shirt bugs me. Even not knowing anything about the game, really, it's just like, why?
Well, it kind of looks violent for sure, and from what I played, it was kind of scary and violent. So yeah.
I don't know. It's almost, and then there's the, also kids who wear the Call of Duty shirts, and just like, come on, parents, don't let your kids play this stuff,
Especially that young.
And then the other, Layers of Fear 2 is coming out. That was a big, speaking of horror games, Layers of Fear 1 was a pretty big game a year or two ago. Never mind. I thought Everybody's Golf VR must have come out last week. I was looking for that game. But that one must already be out. Trover Saves the Universe is also a VR game that looks like a big purple eye hole monster. That's weird. Okay.
Well, we forgot about Super Cane Magic Zero.
Okay.
Do I hear that? This is a pretty good description.
Okay, sure.
Cake the Wizard is dead, and his magic dog is out of control. Can you save the world? Can you save the dog? Gear up, eat rocks, throw banana boomerangs, and fight a giant potato. Explore a huge game world, unlock over 15 playable characters, and collect hundreds of items and perks in this local co-op action RPG for 1 to 4 players.
Okay.
Fight a giant potato, Seth.
The drawings on this remind me of what is that? Everyone super bad or
Super
whatever.
Adventure Time?
Bad. Maybe.
The
I don't know.
Cartoon Network or Yeah, I think it's very
Yeah,
close. It's like a.
Yeah.
It looks very similar.
Yeah. So I don't know. Are you going to be playing that one?
I think I'll pass.
Okay, that'd be a good co-op game with your wife.
I mean, I'm actually watching the trailer now, and it doesn't. It looks pretty well made.
Okay.
Very silly, but well made. Lots of bananas.
Lots of bananas. That's what we like in our games.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to a topic near and dear to your heart. Call of Duty. Call of Duty, the past couple weeks has been, there's been a decent amount of news coming out of the Call of Duty land. Number one, this year is the reintroduction of Modern Warfare. And instead of Modern Warfare 4, they're just branding it Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
As a Call of Duty fan, and Modern Warfare is maybe the height, at least, of the single-player version of the single-player story of Call of Duty. Does it being just starting over like a Modern Warfare reboot, does that make sense to you? Are you really confused by that, like the internet supposedly is?
Yeah. I'm definitely not confused. I think people make a bigger deal out of that than it needs to be. Just like I'm not confused. Well, actually, it is more confusing. The Xbox One is called Xbox One, but there was an Xbox One,
Right.
as in the original Xbox. But I don't think it's a big deal that it's. I mean, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare was Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, just Modern Warfare, which is how they've been naming their last couple of games. They haven't been putting numbers on them for a little while now. So
Yeah.
I think I hope there's some people have been saying that it is like a soft reboot, which I would think it doesn't need to be a reboot I hope it's not a remake of any kind. I hope they're not trying to tread over the same story at all.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't think that they would, since they just came out with the remaster of Call of Duty, of the first Modern Warfare, and then I think the Modern Warfare 2 remaster.
I
bet that it's going to be part of this.
Yeah,
but like the first one, if you buy the special edition, you get Modern Warfare 2 remastered.
Yeah, I think there was news about that recently.
So I would think that they'll just. This is Modern Warfare is what? How old now?
Pretty old.
10 years old.
Yeah.
Warfare has changed a little bit in the past 10 years.
That was gonna be my other point, is that when the original came out, when you say modern warfare, it maybe has a little bit of a different connotation than it does now.
Mm-hmm.
Things have just changed. So 2007, so
okay,
12 years ago, Call of Duty 4 came out.
Oh geez, we were still, it's what, 2 presidents ago. Still, had we done the mission accomplished in Iraq banner?
No,
at that point.
That was definitely after 2008, I think. So,
yeah.
No, actually, no. It must have been right around that time, because 2008 is when Obama came in office, right? Yeah. So
yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, either way, it means a little bit different thing now than it did, over 10 years ago. Different technology. You technically can have more advanced That was always kind of the thing about Modern Warfare, is it wasn't futuristic in any way, but in reality, the stuff that we have, the stuff our soldiers has today, is pretty futuristic, it seems. So
yeah,
I hope they do a lot. Something cool.
A lot more with drones now, and
And Modern Warfare always had like a fictional war, that was just set in present time. So that's all. That's all they have to do, really.
Right. The other news coming out of Call of Duty land is that the 2020 game, next year's game, was being developed by Raven. Let's see. This is from, I don't know why I clicked on Paste Magazine, but I should just read the Kotaku report. Never mind, Paste Magazine. Because it said according to a Kotaku report. Well, I'm just going to go to Kotaku. Next year's Call of Duty has gone through a major upheaval as publisher Activision informed developers this week that studios Raven and Sledgehammer will no longer be in charge. Instead, according to 3 people familiar with goings-on at the company's, Treyarch will lead development on a new Black Ops for 2020. Every fall for the past 15 years, Activision has put out a new Call of Duty game supported by a stable of different developers who rotated duties as required. Since 2012, there's been a 3-year cycle for each game. Which I have to imagine that's, I think, one of the things that makes Call of Duty successful is it is an annual release, but each release still gets a full 3-year dev cycle.
Yes.
And now for next year, that's supposedly only going to be a 2-year dev cycle for Black Ops. How did this news find you? Are you disappointed that Sledgehammer isn't getting and Raven aren't getting the full shot?
Yeah. I definitely think it's a bad sign, or not really particularly excited about it. Sledgehammer's been making like interesting Call of Duty games. They made World War II. They made Advanced Warfare, which they at least tried cool stuff with the stories in those games.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, Sledgehammer, the people in that one, did they do their lineage is interesting. I feel like they worked on some other big story-based game. Looking that up.
Yeah, I'm not
Sledgehammer
exactly sure, but yeah, I just know that. Yeah, it definitely in the description of what they were working on was a Cold War era game, and that sounds very cool.
Sledgehammer Games co-founders Schofield and Condrey worked together at Electronic Arts on 007 From Russia with Love, and then the collaboration carried forward to Dead Space. So this is maybe among the original creators of Dead Space. And then they started Sledgehammer and started working on Call of Duty games. So yeah. And then it seems like this year, Black Ops 4. I know you really like it. It's a good multiplayer Call of Duty game and whatnot, but it seems like it's not as talked about as past years Call of Duties. I don't know.
Well, there's no story mode, so that was the big story about it, which it wasn't. I missed it quite a bit. Blackout mode was really big when it first released, and people were excited about it. And I still think it's a really good mode, and it was a really good iteration of that genre. But then it just kind of, I think Apex kind of came out too, and Apex is the new best battle royale game, and people kind of forgot about Blackout mode, and it didn't get updated quite as fast as it probably should have. Though it's got really good, big, meaningful updates. It's just, I don't know, something about it. It's one of the best multiplayer ones I've played in a long time.
Yeah,
I like the multiplayer mode on that more than I like, than I've liked the last couple iterations. So
right. Well, the funny thing about the single player mode, and I know they've gotten a lot of that is what draws some people to the game, but that's 10 hours of gameplay. So you're when you're talking about single player mode, it's May. Nobody would be playing single player mode at this point anyway. So the Call of Duty tale is all about multiplayer. Some other tidbits from the Kotaku article. This news comes during a strange time for Activision and Call of Duty. Talks about Black Ops 4 sold well at first, but it hasn't had as long of a tail. Internally, Activision executives have started to talk about embracing free-to-play as a revenue model, and 3 sources say are looking into offering a free-to-play component for this year's new Modern Warfare, although specifics may not be finalized yet. And then it also mentions that Sledgehammer's co-founders Michael Condrey and Glenn Schofield left the studio in 2018. So I guess whatever issues have been going on with Sledgehammer have probably been going on for a while. It sounds like that those two leaving was not necessarily amicable, and have Sledgehammer's been having a lot of issues. So anyway, so it's usually you don't hear too much of things like this coming out of Activision, I guess. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Right now it seems like Activision basically they have Call of Duty. They just got rid of Destiny. They own Blizzard, but Blizzard hasn't come out with anything new in a long time. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't seem to have they got a lot of studios in. I mean, Sledgehammer is a huge studio to be going through all these problems, and Blizzard and Activision is the one that had a lot of layoffs last year, wasn't it? And those affected Blizzard as well.
Yeah, Blizzard and maybe even at the time, I think it was some employees that was right after Destiny left, right after Bungie, right after that split. So some thought was some of those losses were people related at least to marketing Destiny.
Yep.
Which, that makes sense, as much as it stinks for people to lose jobs and things, but I don't know, that makes some sense.
I'll tell you, I'm very nervous about this mention of free to play though.
You are?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, talk about not having a story mode anymore. That will be the end of the story mode in Call of Duty, which is one of my favorite parts. And just like, I don't know. I feel like free to play games tend to there's going to be more chance of pay to win and those kind of things. Even when it is, just skins, when it's a competitive game, you don't want to be able to pay for a very camouflagey skin or something like that, or something that gives you even a slight edge in the game. So I don't know. Call of Duty is becoming something that I don't necessarily like as much. It's not the Call of Duty that I've started to like quite a bit. So if they go to free to play, they start getting rid of story mode, they focus more on battle royale or skins and stuff like that, which they've been doing for a while. When you go play multiplayer, there's plenty of options to buy skins and buy weapon skins and all that other stuff. So
right now, from an outsider view here on Call of Duty, at least, but playing Apex Legends, if I would have had to pay full price for Apex Legends, I probably wouldn't have played it to start with. Now I'm at the point where if whatever Respawn does next, I'm on board with. It's the Star Wars game, but I probably wouldn't have played it had it not been free to play. And then, I have put some money into it that I probably wouldn't have put additional money into it had it not been free to play. So and maybe over the lifetime of Apex Legends, as long as they keep supporting it and there keeps being new seasons and I'm invested, I could easily see myself spending more than $60 on it over a couple years. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do, I guess. And really, with E3 coming up, there could be, some big news about it pretty soon. I think usually, don't they have a big reveal?
Well, they will.
Any
I mean, this year's game hasn't been revealed yet,
right?
so they won't reveal what um, Infinity Ward was making this year's game,
Yep.
and we'll learn more about that. I don't think we'll know anything more about what's coming out next year.
No.
But I mean, they're saying it's gonna be Black Ops 5, and well, I was just thinking Black Ops 4 did have some weird like story cutscenes.
Okay.
You could unlock like very slowly throughout, but by playing multiplayer or whatever. I never really paid attention to it much because it wasn't a traditional story mode, so I didn't really want to play it. But it was very clear to me that they had started on something or started on a story mode and just couldn't quite finish it, so they kind of just dumped it into this cutscene list, basically. And now they're in another situation where they had 3 years to develop their next game, and now they're gonna have 2 years. So
Yeah.
I would be shocked if they're able to pull together a big, massive campaign in that time.
I guess the one thing about not having the story mode is what does Black Ops even mean? And again, this comes from an outsider who hasn't played the first 3 Black Ops story modes, but I imagine that name means something story wise.
Yeah.
The
first 3 had a very interesting story. That's what people, it had a certain style to it. It had a good story. It had kind of this brain. I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of like a memory thing where all 3 games were like the lead character was having issues with his memory and stuff like that, and you're slowly uncovering this like kind of crazy story. And it turns out he was like tortured, and I don't know. It had all these cool aspects to it, and it was and there was a lot of like not time travel, but jumping between time points. So Cold War era, future, back to Cold War era, stuff like that. Even I think they put you back into like World War II for like a mission or two. So yeah, that's originally what Black Ops was, and then with Black Ops 4, it kind of just turned into something different.
Yeah, it just seems like why is it called Black Ops at this point?
Yeah, I agree.
But moving on from Call of Duty, a article broke, I don't know, maybe last week or so, that Sony was forming a PlayStation Productions studio that will produce movies and TV shows based on games. Obviously, if this studio has just now formed, it's going to be a little bit before we see the fruit of any of this. But I thought we'd take a minute and talk about maybe some PlayStation properties, whether we would like to see them as a movie or as a game, and kind of what that could entail. So do you have any ideas for any Sony games games that you would think could make a good movie or game? I mean, a lot of their stuff is cinematic as it is, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the obvious ones are stuff that Naughty Dog works on, Uncharted and The Last of Us. I almost wonder if this is a reaction to both of those series. Supposedly they've been being worked on for a while. And they just never really get off the ground floor. I wonder if this is them going, well, we know it can make money, so we're just going to handle it then, instead of outsourcing it. And because they even bring up that a lot of people don't really understand gaming and the game world, so they kind of want to take charge of it.
Yeah. Now, with those 2 in particular, Last of Us. Do you think that a Last of Us movie can work if it's not about Joel and Ellie, or does that just turn into zombie movie? 1000.
Well, I think it works because the actual what's the name of the group? The honeybees, the
Fireflies,
honeybees. Well, the whole rise of the Fireflies and the way they kind of put all these people in the camps and stuff like that is pretty interesting. So There is some like deep lore there that is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Now-
You can go a lot of different ways
yeah,
with it.
yeah. So that one I definitely. Now Uncharted, not so much. I mean, Uncharted is set in reality or whatever. So like, if it's not about Joel or not about Nathan Drake,
Nathan.
then there's really no point in the movie. So
Did you ever watch that? It was like a short film, 15 minutes or less, with Nathan Fillion.
oh yeah, yeah,
That was pretty cool. I think he's a little bit too old to play Nathan Drake at this point.
yeah. I would agree with that.
But even that one,
So-
the end of Uncharted 4, the stinger at the end, I guess, you could easily turn that into an Uncharted, that character into an Uncharted movie
Yeah, and I don't know.
franchise.
I know that there's a studio in Santa Monica, or there's a studio somewhere over in California that is working,
Yep.
an unnamed studio that is working on something Uncharted related, and maybe that's
Supposedly.
what they're
Yeah.
supposedly maybe that's what they're working on.
Yeah.
But if they're not working on that, whatever that stinger was, I think that would be a good opportunity. Maybe don't make it so much. Yeah, make it into something different, or maybe it is an old man Nathan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm struggling to think of like. I mean, God of War honestly could be something, but that would be a very expensive, big budget movie
Yeah.
as well if you're going to do it right.
I was thinking of, because it says movie or TV studio. Infamous can make an interesting TV series.
Yes.
The part of and it hasn't, because they haven't revisited it since Second Son, but part of the idea of Second Son and the whole thing in general is that there's more of these super powered people.
Yeah. There was enough
coming
of
up
them to fill a whole prison. So
Yeah, that's true. So you could easily do a series set in the Infamous universe. It doesn't have to include Delsin or, the first guy, Cole, or could include Delsin or Cole. It doesn't
could
really
be,
matter.
or
But
it could, probably most likely it would be like a brief scene or something like that. Like, oh yeah, there's Cole or something like that.
right.
I now that you say that though, like at first I was thinking, oh, like Marvel's got a couple shows out now. I think like there was one called the Inhumans or something like that,
Yep.
kind of similar thing, But then it could either be like that, which I don't know how that show is, but I feel like more realistically it would be something like The Flash or like a CW produced, where it's like they spend a lot less money on like CG and they do a lot more like teen drama than they do superhero stuff. So I would hope it wouldn't be that, but I remember I actually watched a little bit of Flash, and the first season of The Flash was very much a like monster or superhuman of the week show.
Okay.
So they could do that with Infamous. So
Right. The tricky thing with something like that is that you don't have any, or with basing anything on any of these games, is you don't really have any attachment to specific characters necessarily. If they aren't the exact characters from the games, and even then, it's a small subset of your potential audience. I don't know how many people played Infamous at this point, but compared to the number of people who could go watch a movie or watch a TV show or whatever on Netflix. And then I was also thinking Horizon Zero Dawn.
oh yeah,
I mean, that could make a lot of sense, especially, if it's something that, I guess the problem right now is the timing of this. If they're just now putting this together, it's going to be 3 years before you see anything out of it. Maybe I don't know how long it takes to put on a TV show or a movie, but it
I think it
seems like
about,
it would take
that's
a
about
while.
right, really. You know, so that would be another good one, because that's another one where the lore is so deep that Aloy doesn't have to do anything with the TV show at all.
Right.
She doesn't need to be doing that. and especially her character. I don't think she would be even. It would be strange for her to even be a cameo because she's on such a special quest herself. But
Yeah.
they could set it at any point in time, so there's a lot of options there.
Yep. Cool. I think it could be exciting. We'll see what comes out of it. But all right. Moving on to kind of another topic of the show. Justin, you're going to be taking a hiatus for a little bit here.
That's true.
So good luck with everything there.
Yep. It's gonna be my last show for a little while. Baby's coming pretty soon, so
yeah.
Um,
So everyone, when people talk about having a kid and talk about how that wreaks havoc with their gaming time, which it definitely does, but that initial when the baby's not doing much and you just need to hold the baby for a while he or she's napping or whatever, actually is a time where I got a lot of gaming time in. So I think over these next few months, we might be in for some more game time than maybe expected.
Yeah.
So it's a good time. What now as your child gets older, people talk about how they're going to introduce gaming, like they want to start them on the NES like we started or whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
Are you planning on doing any of that, or just in like 5 years, whatever the next Minecraft is, whatever they're interested in?
Yeah. I was thinking strictly Bloodborne and Call of Duty, probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I really want to raise a fighter. So
Okay.
no, I don't know. I do think it's easier now than ever to introduce kids to like Super Nintendo or NES style games, because
for sure
I could just be like, oh, here I've got this Super Nintendo Classic sitting in my closet. This can be your first console. Here you go.
Yep.
Try it out. See if and there's plenty of games on there to play, and you got Mario Kart and stuff like that. But I also like the idea. Like, I know people like to hate on Minecraft and getting their kids and letting their kids play Minecraft and stuff like that, but Minecraft's a pretty creative game. So I'd all be all for that as well. So, and yeah, we'll see. It'll be a very, by the time that, she's being born in 2019, by the time she's old enough to even kind of comprehend games or a controller, who knows what will be out? Who knows what the next Minecraft will be?
Yep.
Might be Minecraft 2.0 for all we know. Because we know that they are working on something over there. Not really sure.
Imagine, realistically, the first gaming experience will be, and it depends on parents. I know some parents do, no screens at all for the first couple years, and some parents, or whatever. I mean, we're kind of a mix of that. We don't do screens a ton, but we do a bit.
Yeah.
But the first gaming experience likely will be on an iPhone or an iPad, or a tablet.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're gonna at least start out. I mean, we don't have an iPad or even a really tablet right now, so we're not intending to. Most of our friends and a lot of people we know, all of their kids have iPads of some sort, and they have the big protective screen on it, and they kind of just plop it in front of their kids and say, here you go. And our plan is to not do that, so we'll hold out as long as we can. They're also effective, I've seen. So
pretty much the only time with now we have 3 kids, so by the third one it gets a little more lax on everything. First kid, your house is all baby proofed, we're not doing screens, no iPads, no nothing. By the third one, she gets to I think watch a little bit more Dora the Explorer than the other 2 did, or like when we're in the car, she's an okay traveler, but sometimes she's not, especially for a long trip. So you just give her the iPad, but it's not like we do that all the time. So anyway, I don't remember when my oldest was a baby what I was playing at the time. for some reason. But the other two, my second was born a few months before Last of Us came out. And so I remember very vividly holding her while I started Last of Us, which was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Playing Last of Us, and then with our youngest, she was born, and then a few months later, the Switch came out, and so I played. Actually, that's how I got through Zelda in like a month, was because I hold her and rock her to sleep and play Zelda for a couple hours here, like every day.
I know.
So that was a good memory. And then, of course, introducing games to kids. I started out with there was Minecraft and Disney Infinity, which has the the creative mode. So there will be other games like that. You could start, speaking of creative mode, you could just start out with Dreams.
I mean, it's not
build a programmer.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it sounds. I mean, certainly I could probably set her up to play. There will be easy or kid friendly games on that people have made, especially when you in a year or two, and like how we've talked about how things are becoming more polished as time goes on within Dreams. So, I bet you could probably just filter like kid friendly.
Right. No, I was saying that she could create the dreams.
Oh yeah, no, that I also attend on that. I mean, I want her to become extremely successful and let me retire early.
Yeah,
that's why we all have kids, right?
Yeah.
That's the only reason. So,
all right. Well, good luck with all of that, and
yes, I'm sure I'll come back with plenty to talk about.
Yeah. And also wanted to take one moment before we sign off. We are actually recording this on Monday, which is Memorial Day. So wanted to shout out to anybody currently in the service, and then, of course, those who have lost family members who have been in the service, whichever branch. So I know this, by the time you're hearing this, it's after Memorial Day, but did want to shout out to people who have lost somebody who's fought in the service. And with that, I think we're done. So we're going to sign off. You can follow us on Twitter at PSXP Podcast. I have not been posting a ton on there. It's the end of the school year. And the end of the school year tends to get pretty busy. So I've actually been pretty out of touch with gaming news and things like that over the past few weeks. But graduation is completed. So that's good. This weekend, I have a group I'm in runs a festival. And the festival is this weekend. So, and I'm the president of it's a Kiwanis Club. So I will be very busy this weekend as well. And then June will hit and everything slows down. So I'm looking forward to June. So I think you're looking forward to June also.
I am.
For different reasons.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, then signing off. It's been fun, and hope everyone has a great week.
And though we may pledge fanboy allegiances to different flags, deep down inside we all serve one master, one king. And his name is gaming. Forever may he reign!